There is one quality more powerful than talent, more valuable than knowledge, and more rare than genius, and that is courage, a good morning, champions. Today, I invite you to awaken not just your body, but your spirit, your will, and your vision. The world does not belong to the timid. The prize does not go to those who sit and wait. The world bows only to those who stand tall in the face of fear and move forward with courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in spite of fear. It is waking up every morning with doubts in your heart, but still putting your feet on the ground and saying, "I will try again." Courage is the invisible fire behind every dream turned reality. No man or woman has ever achieved greatness by playing it safe. Every invention, every empire, every breakthrough began with someone who refused to back down when the world said, "It can't be done." A courage does not require permission. It does not ask the crowd. It does not wait for applause. Courage simply decides and then acts. You must understand something powerful within you right now is a sleeping giant, not made of muscle, but of purpose. It will not awaken with comfort. It will awaken only when you step into the unknown, when you take the risk, when you rise after failure and say, "This is not the end." So ask yourself today, what fear is stopping me? What vision am I postponing? What destiny am I delaying simply because I lack the courage to begin? The strongest weapon you own is your belief in yourself. There will be obstacles. There will be failures. But never forget, every setback you face is preparing you for the next level. Every fall is a lesson. Every delay is building your strength, and every courageous step you take brings you closer to the life you were born to live. Let today be the day you stop waiting. Let it be the day you stop asking for approval. Let it be the day you stop retreating. Step into your power. Act with courage. Speak with courage. Live with courage. The world is not changed by those who fear. It is changed by those who dare. Now rise up. The hour is early, but your time is now. Be bold. Be fearless. Be unstoppable. Courage is often misunderstood. Many believe that to be courageous, one must be fearless, that only those without doubts or hesitation can truly act boldly. But this is not the truth. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite the presence of fear. It is the quiet voice within that says, "I will try again tomorrow, even after a day full of failures." It is the burning desire that refuses to be silenced by obstacles, rejection, or uncertainty. In fact, fear is a natural part of any worthwhile journey. If your dream doesn't scare you, then it's not big enough. Fear is a sign that you're on the edge of something meaningful, and courage is what allows you to cross that line. When you act despite fear, something remarkable happens inside you. Your spirit strengthens. Your belief in yourself deepens. You learn that fear is not a wall, it's a mirror. It reflects your insecurities, yes, but it also reveals your deepest desires. You fear writing the book, starting the business, giving the speech, not because you are incapable, but because you care so deeply about succeeding. The fear you feel is not weakness, it's energy. And that energy, when redirected with courage, becomes fuel for action. Consider the most successful people in history. Every one of them faced fear. They were not born with supernatural confidence. They faced ridicule, criticism, and internal doubts. But what made them different was this: they acted anyway. They didn't wait for the fear to vanish. They moved forward one step at a time in the presence of fear. That's courage. That's power. The human mind is trained to avoid discomfort. It tells you to play safe, stay quiet, avoid risk. But courage rebels against that programming. Courage is the decision to be vulnerable, to try when there's no guarantee, to speak up when your voice shakes, to show up even when you're unprepared. Every act of courage rewires the mind. Every time you choose to take action despite fear, you're strengthening a new identity, one of boldness, resilience, and confidence. And let's be clear, courage is not only for grand moments. It lives in the small daily decisions, the phone call you're afraid to make, the opportunity you hesitate to grab, the truth you're scared to speak. These moments, though quiet and unnoticed by the world, are where your future is being shaped. When you choose courage in those moments, your life begins to transform, not overnight, but surely and steadily. And with each courageous act, your fear begins to shrink while your faith in yourself begins to grow. The most beautiful thing about courage is that it multiplies. The more you use it, the more you have. One act of courage creates momentum. It gives birth to the next. And soon, what once seemed terrifying becomes your new comfort zone. You evolve, not by avoiding fear, but by walking through it with purpose. So when fear whispers that you're not ready, not good enough, not qualified, remember this: fear lies. Your mind might doubt you, but your heart knows what you're capable of. Lean into that. Trust it. Take the step. Speak the word. Make the move. Even if your hands shake and your voice trembles, act. Because courage is not for the chosen few. It is for anyone who chooses it. And every time you act despite fear, you step closer to the life you were meant to live. There is a fire inside every person, a deep, driving purpose waiting to be awakened. But this fire does not ignite on its own. It is not triggered by comfort, ease, or routine. It is awakened by a single forced courage. Courage is the match that sets your purpose ablaze. Without courage, that fire remains dormant, hidden beneath layers of fear, doubt, and hesitation. But when you begin to act with courage, even in the smallest ways, you start unlocking a power that was always within you. Your purpose is not just a dream or an idea. It is a mission, something bigger than fear, bigger than failure, and bigger than you. It calls you forward, pulling you through the trials and uncertainties of life. But here's the truth: your purpose will never fully reveal itself in your comfort zone. It waits on the other side of risk. It waits in that place where you have to take the leap, trust your gut, and bet on yourself. That leap requires courage, because purpose is always found in motion. You don't find your purpose by sitting still, analyzing endlessly, or waiting for the perfect plan. You find it by acting, by trying, failing, adjusting, and trying again. Each time you choose courage, you get closer to clarity. You start seeing who you really are, what you really want, and what truly matters. That clarity is your purpose beginning to shine through. And with every bold step you take, your inner fire grows stronger. Think about the people who inspire you, the leaders, the creators, the change makers. They didn't stumble upon purpose by accident. They discovered it because they made a choice that they chose to face discomfort, to rise above excuses, and to step forward when it would have been easier to step back. They understood that courage wasn't a luxury, it was a requirement. Because without courage, purpose remains just a theory. With courage, it becomes action, impact, and legacy. Purpose and courage are deeply connected. One gives you direction, the other gives you fuel. Purpose shows you the mountain to climb, but courage gets you to take the first step. Without courage, the mountain looks too high, too risky, too far. But when you act in courage, suddenly the impossible starts to look possible. The path begins to form beneath your feet, and each step gives you strength for the next. When you begin living with purpose, the way you see the world changes. You're no longer just passing time, you're investing it. You're no longer just existing, you're contributing. Life becomes more meaningful, more urgent, more alive. And that sense of purpose strengthens your courage even more. It becomes a loop the more courage you show, the clearer your purpose becomes. The clearer your purpose becomes, the more courage you're willing to summon. But it all starts with one decision: to act boldly, to stop waiting, to stop asking for permission to chase the thing that keeps calling to you. That decision changes everything. It may not lead to instant success, but it will lead to transformation. It will lead to growth, and it will lead you to the path that was always yours to walk. So if you feel lost, uncertain, or disconnected, don't look outward, look inward. Ask yourself not what the world wants from you, but what sets your soul on fire. Then, even if you're afraid, take one small step toward it. That step, taken in courage, is enough to start the chain reaction. It's enough to awaken your purpose and put you on the path to something greater than fear, greater than comfort, and far greater than playing small. Choose courage, and you will find your purpose, not someday, today. Obstacles are not the end of the road. They are the very path to greatness. Life will never hand you your dream without testing your strength, your will, and your desire for it. Every person who has ever achieved something worthwhile has faced rejection, defeat, and discouragement. But what separates the successful from the average is how they respond to those obstacles. While most people retreat, the courageous ones rise. They understand that setbacks are not signs to quit. They are stepping stones to something greater. When you hit a wall, you're not being punished, you're being prepared. The obstacle is not there to stop you, but to shape you. Every difficulty holds a lesson. Every delay builds patience. Every failure strengthens resolve. Without these tests, you would never grow into the person capable of handling the success you desire. Courage is what helps you stand back up, brush off the dust, and say, "I'm not done yet." Most people fear obstacles because they associate them with loss of time, of energy, of confidence. But the courageous person sees something different. They see the opportunity hidden inside the problem. They look for what they can learn, how they can adjust, how they can come back stronger. That shift in mindset is everything. It's what transforms failure into feedback, pain into power, and struggle into strength. It's easy to feel discouraged when things don't go your way. It's tempting to believe that the universe is working against you. But often, those closed doors and disappointments are just redirections. They are guiding you, refining you, preparing you. The people who succeed in the long run are not those who never fall. They are the ones who never stay down. Every fall gives you a choice. Will you see this as the end or as part of the journey? Think of every challenge you faced in life. At the time, it may have felt impossible. But now, looking back, you see how it changed you. It may have made you wiser, more focused, more determined. That's the gift of the obstacle. It builds you from the inside out. It strips away the weakness, sharpens your vision, and forces you to tap into strength you didn't know you had. Obstacles reveal character. When everything is easy, anyone can pretend to be committed. But when life gets hard, when the road gets steep, that's when your true self is revealed. Do you complain, blame, give up? Or do you adapt, persist, and rise? That's where courage shows up. It whispers, keep going. You've come too far to stop now. No path to success is smooth. If it were easy, everyone would do it. But the very fact that it's hard is what makes it meaningful. Your challenges are not curses. They are confirmation that you're on the right track. The bigger your vision, the bigger the resistance. And that's okay, because every great story includes struggle. The mountain isn't there to break you. It's there to show you how high you can climb. So the next time you face a setback, remind yourself this is part of the process. It's not a reason to quit. It's a reason to dig deeper, to fight harder, to rise higher. Let each obstacle make you stronger. Let each failure sharpen your focus. Let every delay be a time of preparation for the breakthrough ahead. You don't grow in the easy times. You grow when it's hard, when you're tired, when you want to give up, but you keep going anyway. That's real courage, and that's how obstacles become stepping stones. One by one, they lift you higher until you're standing on top of the very things that once tried to hold you down. One of the most powerful truths you will ever learn is this: you do not need anyone's permission to live your dream. You do not need approval to begin. The greatest breakthroughs in life don't come from waiting. They come from deciding. Courage is not about being ready. It's about deciding to move forward when everything inside you wants to hesitate. The world is filled with people who had potential, ideas, talent, but they waited. They waited for signs, for certainty, for the right time, for someone to tell them it was okay to begin. And in that waiting, their dreams withered. But the courageous choose a different path. They do not ask for permission. They decide and act. The truth is, the perfect moment doesn't exist. You will never feel fully ready. There will always be doubts, distractions, and reasons to delay. But courage cuts through all of that. It allows you to say, I don't have all the answers, but I'm starting anyway. That first step, even if it's shaky, is the most important one. Because in that moment, you reclaim your power. You stop giving control to fear, to circumstances, to other people's opinions. You take your life into your own hands. When you act without waiting for permission, you send a message to yourself and to the world: I believe in my own authority. I trust my own voice. This builds an inner confidence that no external approval can ever match. And once you start moving, even in small steps, you build momentum. That momentum creates clarity. That clarity builds more confidence. And the cycle continues. But it all begins with a choice, one courageous decision to start, regardless of the noise around you. You must understand that nobody sees your vision like you do. Nobody hears the calling in your heart the way you do. So if you wait for everyone to understand, you'll wait forever. You have to be willing to move forward even when others doubt you. You have to be willing to stand alone if necessary, because greatness is not born in the crowd. It is born in the quiet moments of bold, personal decisions. Most people live small not because they lack talent, but because they seek too much approval. They shrink their vision to fit others' expectations. They silence their dreams because they fear judgment. But courage refuses to be silenced. It refuses to conform. It steps forward even when the world says, you're not ready, because it knows that readiness is something you create by doing, not by waiting. Every achievement you admire was once just a decision. A moment when someone said, enough waiting. I'm doing this now. They didn't have it all figured out. They didn't know all the steps, but they started. And by deciding and acting, they became the kind of person who could carry the weight of the dream. That's how transformation happens, not by accident, but by bold, intentional movement. So if you've been hesitating, delaying, overthinking, stop. The time is now, not when it's easier, not when it's guaranteed, now. Decide who you want to be, decide what kind of life you're going to live, and act on that decision like your future depends on it. Because it does. Courage doesn't need the world to agree. It only needs you to commit. And once you commit, doors will open. Opportunities will appear. Not because life is suddenly easier, but because you're finally walking with purpose. You're no longer asking the world for permission. You're giving yourself permission to become everything you were meant to be. So stand tall. Speak your truth. Take that first step. And never forget the bold do not wait, they create. The courageous do not ask, they decide. That's how dreams begin. That's how lives are changed. And that's how legacies are born.